And we are live, I think. Boy, I'll tell you something, Jamie. We're on OBS Studios now, and it's just been kind of a learning curve in a way. But I think we're live. Anyways, it looks like we're live. I see us on YouTube. So
hopefully.
And Jamie McParland in here for NWF Forward.
I'm back.
In place of the AWOL Ricky Henry, that kid, I'll tell you. He he had a big match yesterday, but he had to work today, and so yeah, he couldn't make it. And so I got a hold of. Whenever I'm in dire straits, this is the guy I try to reach out to, with the exception of Dave. And but Dave is super busy working 2 jobs and everything, so I try not to bug him too much.
I appreciate you reaching out, and I'm real excited. It's been a little while since I've been on the podcast, so
yeah. And I gotta just straighten my camera out. There we go. I was kind of like crooked.
That looks good.
And by the way, Jamie and Mike, if you're listening, you're gonna notice a delay on that other little view of yours. It's normal, so don't worry about that. You're coming through just fine.
Cool.
And Jamie, you sound great. No audio issues today or nothing. This is great.
Yeah, it's the OBS upgrade.
Yeah, get out of that StreamYard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason, and everybody's always wondering, why are we in OBS Studios now? And it's because as we convert our catalog to 4K, which is coming up here, I want to stream it in 4K. And StreamYard does not allow 4K streaming. So OBS Studio is like, well, YouTube allows 4K streaming, and OBS Studio is like one of the few ways to get into there and do it that way. So
yeah. And OBS is really kind of the open source industry standard for
absolutely,
as far as I know. So
and it's not difficult. It's just there's a lot of bells and whistles and levers.
Yeah.
And knobs. And you got to just get it set up just right. It's kind of like Jamie's audio setup. If it's not just right, it like blows up, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm sure there's a lot of different edge cases for what people want to do. You know, there's some people that want to stream video games and their live face. Some people want multiple cameras,
right?
You know, so
and normally Jamie,
title cards. So,
but you mentioned video games. Normally, that's what the 4K is for.
Yeah,
but in our case, you know, with all this restoration stuff, it makes sense for us to go 4K as well. So,
yeah,
and we'll see it because today my match. You know, I've showed my match before. It's up on YouTube. However, this is a debut of the 4K restored version of my match. So it's going to be in 4K. And the 4K restoration works really good when you're going from 1080p. So it actually does a pretty good job compared to going from VHS video, which it still does a good job, but it's better when it's already in 1080p. And we're going to we got a special guest, and he's waiting, and I don't want to keep him waiting any longer.
I'm excited.
Let me tell you something. So, Jamie, you know our story, and everybody knows the NWF story. Yeah. But let me tell you about what's going on with our guest, because what we did, Jamie, in the 80s, and we don't like using that B word, because as far as we're concerned, we just self-trained ourselves and got going. Mm-hmm. So did this guy. He did the same thing. His name's Mike Kinney, Gator Magraw. He did what we did in another 10 years later in the state of Minnesota, a little further south. But you know, he didn't do it like all those infamous backyard promotions that were just doing it in the backyard. He was doing venues just like we were and stuff, and doing, you know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, schools. I think he went into some schools, I believe. And we'll talk to him about it. And maybe even some armories, for all I know. We'll find out. I don't know all the details, but I know he did very similar to what we did. And he got out of it for a while, like all of us. And he just had his big retirement match in his mid-40s, I believe. And one of the Midwest All-Star Wrestling, the MAW, and their Grand Slam 7 event against an opponent, Aaron Corbin, who is an arch nemesis of Gators. And we're going to talk all about this because they've bet it before when they got started in the business. And funny enough, Jamie, Gator also got trained by Eddie Sharkey. Small world,
Eddie's got his fingers in every generation of wrestling in Minnesota, it seems like.
But I think we'll talk to Gator, but I think Adnan Al-Casey had a lot to do with his training too. He was there with Eddie at the time, I think.
Oh, wow.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
But let's get Gator in here. He's waiting patiently. Let's get him in, and let's introduce everybody to Gator Magraw. Here we go. Gator, welcome in.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Did you hear us okay on that on our dial?
Yeah,
Okay.
and you were mostly correct.
All right, I think I got most of it right. Was it odd and NL, Casey,
Yeah. So
in the training?
the people that I had signed up to train with had Eddie on site quite a bit, and same with Adnan. Adnan was more hands-on than Eddie was, though.
Yeah, he was a guy probably because it was in his blood. He just wanted to get in there and help.
Yeah, but Adnan's a great guy. Like he was.
Very
I was just
funny.
I was having this conversation with a guy that I used to wrestle with just the other day, and we were talking about, Adnan kind of opened the door to us and said, if you have any questions, just give us a call. And I remember specifically on the phone with Adnan, trying to get on one of his shows, and he's just like giving me the rundown of how the business should be, and we had many conversations like that. But it was just kind of looking back on that, it was really cool.
It's funny you mentioned
Can we take a sidebar on Adnan real quick? So it's funny that his name gets brought up. I was actually reading something about him like 2 days ago, that in 1971 he had a match against Andre the Giant in Baghdad.
It's possible.
With 100,000 people in attendance.
Wow.
Yeah. And he apparently went to high school with Saddam Hussein.
That's right.
And they were friends, and Saddam set him up as like a sports hero in Iraq, and like gave him a house and a lot of money, and he was living large in Iraq for a long time. But then obviously, Saddam Hussein was crazy, and that went south, and he ended up having to try to escape Iraq. So, but yeah, I just thought and he beat Andre. So
honestly, underrated as a manager too. AWA days, he was a great manager. I would put him right under Heenan in those days. As far as getting the crowd going.
Yeah, that's true. Before he passed, he actually had a book come out, and there's a lot of photos in there of him growing up, and there's photos of him and Saddam. But he wore this ring on his hand. It looked very clunky, kind of looked like a head of cauliflower, but it was solid gold, and it was a gift that he had gotten from Saddam Hussein, and he wore it just daily.
Wow. That's crazy. I was going to mention though with the phone calls, because Mike's kind of more close to our era, Jamie. We didn't have cell phones. I think cell phones might have just been coming out then, maybe. But so yeah, you did a lot of rotary phone calls, and I had those same kind of conversations with Eddie, of course. I would call Eddie Sharkey, especially on the weekends when he had nothing going on. And I would hour-long conversations with him. I honestly learned more from Eddie in a psychology sense than anything. We'll talk about it, but he doesn't get a whole lot of hands-on with you. I could count in one hand how many times he actually physically showed me something. Did a lot of talking. In his coaching style, but boy, the psychology of wrestling and everything on those phone calls I'd have, and I'm a young kid like Jamie, knows how we were at that age. I was just a sponge to soak up anything he could tell me, and I learned so much from those phone calls, with him. And the thing that was cool with Eddie for me, I don't know about you, Mike, but for me, he treated me like an equal. I'm a 16-year-old kid who doesn't really know much, but Eddie never made me feel that way, ever. He treated me like I'm an equal to him, and I wasn't. But he made me feel that way. It was a very welcoming feeling with him.
Yeah, I don't know that my experience is necessarily the same with him. He, I worked a lot of shows for him on the Minnesota scene, and so I had the luxury in some ways of working for him as a trained wrestler under his banner, and I got to see how he treated the wrestlers, and so it's a different. I will tell you, it's a different experience than what you're explaining to me right now.
Yeah. well, no, I know what you're saying. Eddie can be very opinionated. He can show, and I've seen him show favorites in the locker room, which always bothered me. I'm sure you're familiar with that.
I am.
And so I do know some of what you're saying. But when it was a personal one-on-one, when I was either at his training or when I was on the phone with him, it was a whole different kind of experience,
Sure.
But yeah, in front of the guys and in the locker room, sometimes he was different, And yeah, he would definitely play favorites, and I'm going to call it like it is, and that's the truth.
Sure.
But I don't have any regrets with him other than, the misunderstanding that we had in the end, and which we eventually talked through when I talked to him years later. But yeah. But let's talk about what we're going to watch today, because what we're going to watch wrestling-wise, so I said that, we're streaming 4K, so I upscaled me and Ricky's match to 4K, and we're going to watch that one in 4K for the first time. And then that way Mike can see what I went through. And obviously mine's going to go first, because Mike's is in front of 1,500 nearly fans, almost. Am I right?
Yeah, it's pretty right.
And we were in front of, I think, 60. Now, it was supposed to be in Belfast at like a 200 to 300 seat arena kind of venue, but logistics in a few weeks out, 2 or 3 weeks out, logistic reasons, they had to get out of that location for some reason. I can't remember the details. And then we had to go to their dojo shows, their smaller venue. And I'll tell you something, though. It didn't matter to me. I was so thrilled to be in there again doing it, Mike. You know the feeling. And to be in there with Ricky Henry, was... I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world, even though we didn't have the big crowd. So Mike's match has to go last because, first of all, he's a decade later, and it's a big venue match, so I think that makes sense. But we're going to watch both of them. So you guys ready?
All right, this will be fun, yeah.
So I'm going to play the intros. We're going to let the intros play through, and then when the intros are done, I'm going to bring that down because these guys can't really talk too much with the intros because it gets real echoey. So but we're going to let them hear it at least so we can talk about anything. And then when the matches are over, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to toggle that back on again, and then we'll go from there. All right?
Sounds good.
So without any further ado, let's bring in the... and if I talk through it, guys, it's only because it's not going to be a problem. You won't hear me talking, but the fans will. And just so you know, if you guys talk when this is playing, the fans are going to hear you too. The only thing that's going on here is you just can't hear anything that you see on the video. We can all still hear each other. I mean, you won't hear me, and I won't hear you guys, but everybody watching will. You understand? It's OBS Studio for you. All right, here we go. So let's get this switched. And I guess I'm the only one that can talk right now because otherwise it... But I'm going to let this play through and then I'll let these guys know that we're on. By the way, Ricky Henry changing up his gimmick now these days, everybody. We'll talk about that when Ricky comes on with this next. But right now he's the Globetrotter. He's a good heel, everybody. Very small, tight venue here, but very energetic. These are like their diehard of diehard fans for NIPW. He knocked his glasses right off his face. Yeah, Mike and Jamie can't hear me, guys. I know the stream can hear me, but I was asking Ricky if it should come out. What music should it come out to? And he's like, come out to your original music. It only makes sense. And I was such a mark for Hogan that I had to come out to this one. As back in the day, I used that. Once Hogan stopped using this, I started using it. The lady I go up to here in the crowd, that is Ricky Henry's mom. Just told her I wouldn't hurt her son. She's a good lady though. Very nice. He has a good mom. Referee is Chris Mercer. He's the commissioner of NIPW. Johnny McElroy is the ring announcer. And now here comes the introductions, as Ricky would say. I didn't know Johnny was going to do this, by the way. I didn't know he was going to do this long introduction, but he wanted to. All right, guys. That was the introductions. I know they were long on that one. I didn't know Johnny was going to do that long-ass introduction with me. But he was asking for all that information. I'm like, what are you doing? I didn't realize he's going to use it in the intro. So it's kind of funny.
Ricky's the venue is kind of cool. I like. I always like these smaller ones too because it could be a little bit more intimate, and it's I hated outdoor shows, but I didn't really. Venues like this were awesome.
Yeah, with the crowd and everything. Yeah, this is definitely very
you're
tight.
Right on top of them.
Very tight. Yeah, like there wasn't a whole lot of outside ring stuff you could do here.
Right.
And
I'm surprised the champion was the first person in the ring.
That was intentional because I'm from America. I didn't know what was going to happen, Jamie. And like Ricky knows he can get the heat, so he said he'll go out first to get the heat, just to make sure. That was my idea to do a handshake, but Ricky be reluctant. Yeah. We stole that from Steve Regal. Steve Regal did that with Ric Flair. Same thing, only Ricky wiped his hand away. He took it to another notch. And then I slipped because those brand new boots, man, I slipped on the canvas. I thought I was going to screw up right away.
I didn't even notice.
That was Ricky's idea to do a little bit of chain. And I say little bit because I can't do a whole lot, but the way he does chain it is.
Yeah.
He's so good at it. Like, look at how he comes out of it. They're really big in the chain over in Europe, so they love that stuff.
Who's calling the match?
Nobody right now. They put their commentating in later, so the commentating has not been added in yet.
No, I mean between you guys in the ring, like.
Oh, Ricky pretty much. Ricky figured out everything. I went over my spots, and he figured the match out. And if I got lost, which I did a few times, Ricky got me back on track.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
he seems real talented.
Yeah, he's just a natural. For a young kid doing this for 4 years now, he's got so much. All these young kids are like this now, though, Jamie, that start out early like Ricky did.
Yeah.
They got so much under their belts like compared to what we did. Well, a little different, but. And when I did that sequence there, hear the crowd, woo! I said, Ricky's like, they're not going to know that was a flare move. I said, they're going to know that was a flare move. Sure enough, they recognize that. Ricky's like, I was shocked. I didn't think they would know it. He goes, I didn't know it was flare.
Funny. That's funny.
So our whole
He's great with the audience.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a good little heel. He can also be a really good baby face, too, which is, I believe he might be going into now a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. These days. This was here coming up was kind of a mess up. It was supposed to be a backslide, and Ricky didn't duck down, so it was a forward backslide. I've never seen that done before.
It. At least you stayed with it.
Yeah, what can Yeah, he saved it really.
Small baggage.
Small package.
Now, tell me again, how long did you train for this before this match? Because there'd been a long gap between the match previous to this and then this one. So talk to me a little bit about that training.
So I trained in Salt Lake City here at Devotion Championship Wrestling for it's an El Snow Wrestling Academy, for about 2 months, about 2 to 3 days a week. And I had to take 2 or 3 weeks off when I hurt my shoulders. So maybe 5 weeks.
Okay.
I've got probably in.
And how long had it been since your last match?
1990 for Eddie Sharkey.
Wow.
At George's and Fridley, or Roper's. It's called George's and Fridley at that time, but yeah, that would have been the last one, 1990 in April.
So 36-year gap, 35-year.
Yeah. Ricky Steamboat style arm drags, and Ricky was cool with it. They're not used to doing arm drags like that.
Yeah.
Like they do it totally different now. I had to slam him again because I had him in the wrong position wrong. It was supposed to be 2 slams. Trying to do all the moves I did back in the day.
Yeah.
Or at least the ones I can do still. The top rope stuff I didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah. Is this rings? It seems a little small. Is it 12 or
It's
something?
a 16 by 16. I know it looks small, but it might be just the camera angles and stuff.
Right.
But it felt small.
That's 16 outside the ropes, right? It's 14 inside?
Correct. Yes. That's correct. But I'm used to our 20-footers, so when I do my whole running drop kick thing, Jamie, it's like in the 16-footer, it's hard. I remember it being hard in Eddie's ring too. You'll see that coming up, but
so WWF rings were 20 and NWA were 16. Is that right?
AWAs
18.
were 18, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe NWA had a 16-footer now and then, but mainly were 18s, I think, too.
Okay, 18.
And WWE sometimes they used 22-footers.
Really?
Yeah, they were real big. And then like ECW used 18s.
Wow. Ricky had this whole thing memorized in his head. Can you believe that?
That's crazy.
And it goes nearly 20 minutes.
Was this the main event that night?
I see how Ricky corrected my arm. I should have known better. Should have had that in, and he moved my arm before he did that elbow drop. It's just little things you can pick up with Ricky that he's just so, that shows how many matches he's had in training. I'm sorry, Jamie. What'd you say?
Oh no.
You were asking something.
No, I had asked if it was if this was the main event that night.
It was next to the main event. It was the match before, and we'll talk about what happened because everybody was so hyped for our match that we took the steam out of the main event. There just wasn't much left for the main event. It was one of those. It was a Rock Hogan moment for us.
Sure.
And what can you do? John McCann was cool about it though. He was in the main event, and he even said, that you guys were the match of the night. Matt John's very professional that way. He's probably one of their best wrestlers in NIPW right now, in my opinion, John McCann. Very talented. Just off the charts. Like, he can do everything. And funny enough, John McCann wanted the match with me. But me and Ricky just had the chemistry.
Hey.
Yeah, over the top rope. That was my idea. I wanted to do it. Because I used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
Tell you something. At this age, it doesn't feel the same. Especially on the side of the apron. My shoulders were hurting to begin with, so I'm holding my shoulders legitimately right now.
How are you doing, like energy-wise, cardio-wise at this point in the match?
Right now, I'm starting to get the cotton mouth. And it's like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. And that's why if I'm not as vocal with the crowd and stuff, it's because I'm worried about blowing up. So I'm trying to conserve energy.
Yeah. Whoa.
Sunset flip back in. I like what I'm doing. I just feel like I'm in slow motion.
Yeah.
As I watch it. I feel like watching John Cena when he came back. Everything's slower.
That's that's a timing thing. That's when you hear about ring timing and all that, that's what that is.
Yeah.
And frankly, for having been away for so long and coming back and doing this, it's not too far off the mark.
Yeah, it looks real good. I did notice it. Everything seemed a little slow, but
yeah. Well, it's just like you don't feel like you're going slow, but when you're at this age, you're going slow.
yeah.
And sometimes I'm waiting for Ricky to get in position. Like this is one of my bigger, riskier moves, and I need him to be a little closer because that hurts.
Right.
I mean, it didn't hurt back in the day, but man, it hurts now.
Yeah.
Especially when your shoulders are screwed up to begin with, going into the match.
Do they have a spring under the ring?
Yeah, no, this is one of those newer flexi steel rings, so it's just straight steel going across, and the steel itself, if you're a big guy, you can get the bounce, but when you're a little guy like Ricky, man, you bounce.
Yeah.
You bounce off. They're kind of like Eddie Sharkey's ring. It had a spring, but it didn't work.
No.
Or it worked very little. Everybody used to complain about it in the locker room, at least in my days. Unless you got a better ring.
No,
I remember.
God, no.
I remember going to see Eddie, and I don't know if they had to lower the ring because of the venue they were in, but when I saw them, the center of the ring was actually up.
Yeah, that's his ring. It always did that.
Oh, it was always that.
Yep, and like I said, when you land, at least when I landed on, I bounced. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a stiff ring. That was a stiff elbow.
Whoa.
That was snug, as Ricky would say. It didn't hurt, but I felt it. You don't feel anything when you're in a match. You know that, Jamie. Like all these things, even at this age, you still don't feel it until after.
After
like the next day, I was walking pretty stiff. Not going to lie.
How?
I'm sure we'll talk about Mike when you get into his match, but I'm sure he had the same.
After the match, how many days did you have in Ireland before you flew back?
I was there this was a Sunday, so I was there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and flew back Thursday morning.
Okay, so you didn't have to sit on a plane totally stiff.
No, but I had to go to Monday Night Raw with Keaton the next day, and I could hardly walk.
Oh, gee.
So, yeah, that wasn't easy. They called that on the fly doing the 3-arm thing. Chris just said, we're going to do the 3-arm deal. And he goes, you understand, right? And I said, yep. I knew that.
Yeah.
The atomic drop, I brought it back. Ricky saw
Classic.
the kids, they sell it comically these days. That's fine. I don't know why Ricky looked like he's going to take a back body drop. He knew it was going to be a suplex. But elbow drops, here they come. Remember, I do this so slow. I used to go boom, 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 and now I'm looking like, what am I doing? It's supposed to be elbow drop, elbow drop, elbow drop.
Yeah.
I'm my worst critic, ain't I?
That's how it
I think
goes.
everybody's their own worst critic.
This is a move I took from Buck Zumoff coming up.
Oh,
And it hasn't been done in a long time, but it was an awesome looking move. And so I like doing it, so I did it.
That was a great move.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
hate
know that
bringing
I'd
up
have-
his name, but
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't
that was a cool move that he did. Don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, it was great.
The trainers in Salt Lake City, when they see me do it, they're like, whoa, do it again. Because they hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
And I remember the one coach is like, he still works. He goes, I'm going to steal that from you. Told me
Nice.
that. I said, you're not stealing from me. You're stealing from somebody you don't want to hear about.
Yeah.
I said, I don't even know what it's called. I call it the 1, 2, 3 because I don't think it had a name, but
Yeah.
it's all Ricky's idea here. Schoolboy. They called this a schoolboy pin in wrestling, pro wrestling style. But that was Ricky's thing. He wanted me to do all that. Like he's going to go for the figure 4. But remember, Ricky had said that he was going to put me in the figure 4 and make me tap. We talked about this for months.
Yeah.
Actually, even before the match. And I always told Ricky, I'll reverse that figure 4 if you ever try it. So keep that in mind, everybody. And by the way, guys, this is in 4K for the first time. So that's pretty cool to see. Jamie, I know you're a real critic of the upscaling. What do you think? Any issues?
Well, the whole thing looks terrible on my screen.
Oh, is it like choppy?
No, it's like the whole stream is really low res. Like our video things are really low res.
Oh, yeah, because
so.
of the connection.
Yeah.
If you're on YouTube, it'll look crystal clear.
Okay.
Mike, is it like that for you too?
Same exact thing.
Yeah. It's just because of your stream, how you're watching
That's
it.
fine.
When you get to the, if you watch it back, you'll see it nice. And everybody watching is seeing it really nice. Because I'm making sure that it looks like it's good.
Was it not filmed in 4K? I don't understand what you're talking about.
It was filmed in 1080. They film in 1080p.
Oh.
So in HD. So I had to upscale it to 4K.
They don't have 4K over in Europe.
No, well they do, but it's just because it's such a huge bandwidth issue.
Yeah.
And it takes so much space for storage and everything that they don't want to do it 4K if they.
No, that makes sense.
I think eventually they will. Everybody will. Just give it time. It's just AI is causing SD's drives to go way up in cost, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get storage these days. Like it's almost doubled in price. This is a trade sequence where we go blow for blow. Ricky kicked me though, and he's supposed to hit me, and that kick threw me off because I was supposed to kick him coming up here. I was supposed to kick him right here after these blocks, and I forgot because I kicked him already. So, and this is the old style neck breaker I was talking about, Mike.
Oh yeah.
Rick Rude style.
Swinging neck breaker.
Yeah. This is a move you remember me, Jamie. I used to always do this one.
Yep.
One of my favorites. Just the reverse chin lock. Nothing fancy.
It's a good breath catcher.
This was a move that I picked up on in Salt Lake City training. The guy was really good with holds, and he said, why don't you do this? Do the leg drop to the arm and go to this little arm lock thing. And I liked it.
Yeah.
Something a little different. And I knew the Europe fans would love that kind of stuff. So, and that's easy way for Ricky to roll out of it too, to go to a pin. So it was just a nice little filler, little rest filler.
Looks like the crowd's into it though. Got the kid in the front seat jumping out of his chair. That's always a good sign.
Yeah, those two little kids next to that lady is Ricky's nephew and brother.
Okay.
And the lady I talked to in the beginning of the match, that was Ricky's mom. I just told her I'll take it easy on her, don't worry.
Are they smoking in there? Did I just see someone just blow a plume of smoke into the
Vaping.
atmosphere? Oh, they're vaping.
Yeah, there's a few vapors in the crowd, I believe. They allow the vaping. I don't think they allow smoking, though. So he got the figure 4. He has the figure 4 on me. And I told him, Ricky, I'm going to reverse it on you. So we had to do the callback. And boy, the crowd was waiting for it too. when I do flip him over. We had to settle a little bit though. Ricky's telling me, just tap like you did 40 years ago. Just quit like you did 40 years ago, Crusher. I don't know if you heard him say that. It's funny. Oh wait, you can't hear it. Yeah.
No.
Ricky sells so good, doesn't he? His facial expressions.
Yeah,
and
he's great.
Yeah. I was worried, man. I thought I was going to get booed coming out this curtain because I'm from America. I didn't know what they were going to think.
Yeah.
But they were very receptive. This is a Beal throw.
It's good.
Yeah. I don't see it too much these days. The hip tosses, but, the real throws like that.
Yeah.
That was an Eddie Sharkey thing. There's that drop kick, Jamie, the running drop kick.
I saw it. That was good.
So this is our. That was my big move. So now I got to get him covered for the count. Now watch this, you guys. 1, 2. That was 3. That was 3. Listen to the crowd. Look at the kid. little bit of a falsie there.
What's the deal with the ref? Is he just a ref, or is he another wrestler?
He's the commissioner of the league.
Okay.
So he's the special referee, special guest ref. And he's good friends with me, is how we played it up.
Oh.
Yeah, that's Ricky's move. He'll drop kick you when you
That's
come off
great.
the ropes. I've never seen anybody do it. He's good at it.
That's great.
Then he does a gourd buster. Ricky's like, you did a good gourd buster. I said, that was okay. He goes, I've seen people do it absolute dog shit awful. Believe me, you did it good. Or the ones we did in training were dog shit awful. So he was concerned. I said, Ricky, I was just going easy in training because my shoulders. I knew when the match come along, I'd do it.
Yeah.
Now this dang near killed me here. It damn near killed me because of how he does the elbow drop. Watch how he does this. I thought he broke my ribs. He does a back bump elbow drop. And when you do a back bump elbow drop, you've got to break the fall with your elbows. So my chest, I should have lifted up more. That was my fault probably. If I would have lifted my arm up more, I could have caught his elbow better. Oh, I was hurting. My ribs, like I thought they were broke.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, I was hurting here. All right, I'll put the audio up and then we'll come back after it's done. Okay, guys. Where is my screen? Oh, here it is. All right. Let's see it. I don't know why I'm not getting the audio. I don't know why I can't get the audio to play for you guys.
Not only has this man unlocked the professionalism himself, but he's got an offer to the captain. This man gave me a platform to use the best voice in pro wrestling, mine, on a podcast bi-weekly known as the NWF Forward podcast. And it's thanks to Chris Crossan that I'm standing here today as your NWF World Champion. I know my career has not been filled with much honor, but I can assure you that from now on, this title will be fed with nothing but honor. Let me just say this. In 3 days from now, I turn 56. And we're going to come back to this ring one more time and do this one more time with the likes of this guy right here. who I think pound for pound is one of the best on the island. The honor is mine. Always just a privilege to be in the ring with Ricky tonight. I wouldn't want it any other way.
All right, so there we go. That was pretty much it. Sorry, I gotta take care of my alarm. My phone might be going off for work here, so if that happens, I just gotta make sure I get that, because otherwise I don't get my work for tomorrow. So I just have to keep an eye on this. But anyway, yeah. So that was that. It was fun. I was on E, guys. I was on E. We'll talk a little bit about it, and then we're gonna go to Gators match. But yeah, that was in Gator. You know, you can relate. Yeah, you go through a match like that, and like I was so ready for the end of it, because it's like, I don't know if I can go anymore. I don't know how much more I can last. You know, because my mouth was completely cotton mouth, and I never had that problem back in the day. I don't recall. I did a 60-minute Broadway with Mr. X with Steve Engstrom, and I don't have any issues. So that's what I remembered, you know. And then, lo and behold, all this happens, you know. Yeah. So
I had specifically, leading up to mine, because I was fearing something like that might happen, I was training not just physically, but I was training my diet. And especially in the 3-4 days leading up to it, I was very, since I do a lot of public speaking, I have a very specific diet of things, mainly that not to consume prior to any event that I'm doing. And so it was just basically the same thing. I was making sure that I was, you know, well hydrated leading up to those days, and I was eating incredibly clean, and I was just making sure that if I was to blow up, it wasn't going to be because of anything that was within my control. You know, being at a certain age and everything else will catch up to you. So I was trying to control all the small things, but I totally get where you're coming from, because it's when you don't expect it and you're in the ring like that and you're in the moment, it can throw you off, and that's worst case scenario.
yeah, I was just, but I was so grateful to be able to do it, especially in another country. You know, it was the first time I ever traveled outside the United States for any of this, outside of Minnesota for that matter.
Wow.
And I mean, we did plenty of kayfabe, you know, going all around the country and stuff in our storylines, but you know, it was the first time I left the state or the country. Jamie, what'd you think?
I thought it was great. I couldn't tell that you were tired at all or on E at the end. I think he's a great heel and has a lot of very charismatic kid. So, you know, if he sticks with it, I think he's going to really go places, you know. So
Well, you know, Ricky's always said the drama side, the storyline side is his favorite part of wrestling. So he loves interacting with this character. That's why our build up for this match and the storyline, how Ricky got all like the not smart ass kid, thinks he knows everything. That was his whole idea. And you know, he when we did the Belfast build up a week before this, it was in front of a live Belfast crowd, which was so much fun as well. And Ricky comes out there and he starts out by saying, "You say that he's the founder of the NWF? Crusher Crossan is the absolute destroyer of the NWF." He goes, "He ruined the entire thing." And he goes on to say how I quit on everybody, right?
Right.
So I didn't tell him to do that. That's just him coming
That's
up
pretty
with
good.
it, you know? So I was like,
That's so funny.
so he's so good at it. But anyways, let's get to Gators match, and we're going to watch this one. There's another one. Oh, this is going to retirement match number 2 out of the state of Minnesota. Gator, where did the match take place?
North St. Paul.
North St. Paul at what venue?
North High School.
North High School. And the crowd upwards of 1,500 people or thereabouts?
Yeah, for MAW, this is their version of WrestleMania. So there was a
Yeah.
big celebrity convention in the same building prior, and so there's a lot of fanfare on this show. And we built up to this match for almost a full year. And I was making appearances at other MAW shows, and we just built it and built it and built it to the point where the fans could tell it was going to come to a head. And I hadn't had a match. I got to think about this now. 2007 was my official retirement, and this one took place November 1st, 2025. So there was a long gap in there, and it was just, it was something that I was ready for and I had trained for, and I was, all last year I was dieting down. I lost about 35 pounds and got some custom gear made from a guy who makes gear for guys in TNA and Ring of Honor, and so I took it very seriously. And my family was there. You'll see when I go out into the crowd and I'm hugging people and stuff. That's my kids. My kids had never seen me wrestle ever.
Oh, wow.
And so my mom is there, her husband, lots of friends and family. It was a really, really cool night.
All right, so same drill as before. We're going to listen to the introductions. We're going to come out of the introductions so we can talk, and then we're going to go back to the audio of the end of the match so we can hear what Gator says to the crowd and everything. All right, so here we go, guys. This is Gator Magraw versus Aaron Corbin. Am I correct? All right.
That's right.
So it's going to start with Crusher again, but I'm going to switch that off real quick. Hang on. We're not watching that again. All right, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this next match, there is no countout, no disqualification, and it is a bunkhouse brawl match. Introducing first, about to make his way down the aisle, hailing from Boston, Massachusetts, weighing this evening at 218 pounds, he is White Kryptonite, Aaron Corbin.
This guy just doesn't learn when to stay out of your own business.
Another respectable individual.
Respectable. Gator was trying to mind his own business and watch a nice wrestling show back in January. This Irish moron decides to get physical with him. Now almost 10 months later, these two are gonna finally get it on. Gator wants to settle his unfinished business with Aaron Corbin that goes back to the days of Pro Wrestling Crush down in the Mankato area.
This has been a rivalry that has been going on for 25 years. Men that do not like each other. It's been that long, a quarter of a century.
And I look at some of the dignitaries out here. We have Tim Larson from MIW. We have Devlin Kane from the Wisconsin area here. Mitch Paradise has been spotted. Even the rising star Shimdog has been here. They are ready to see the return of Gator Magraw, and especially in Gator's match, the bunkhouse brawl,
Right there.
originally done.
What does that say? Did you read it?
Yeah, Gator fears
I know
Corbin.
you can't read. I'll read it for you. It says, Gator fears Corbin. Have you ever seen a truer statement in your life?
Well, yeah. Well, why did he not want to sign the contract back at Bloomington?
Did he have a lawyer present?
The lawyers already looked over the contract. Give me
You
a
never
break,
sign
Rich.
anything without an attorney present. What do they teach you in American public school?
Get ready for the roof to blow.
His opponent, making his way to the ring and returning to the squared circle from Bloomfield, Iowa, weighing 230 pounds. He is the final boss, Cowboy Gator Magraw.
It is awesome to see that that vest, the boots, the hat.
The color scheme, it's almost like he's trying to be Canadian.
Aren't you happy to see that color scheme? Come on.
No, we wouldn't allow him into our borders.
Oh, he's even dressed up his old cowbell. Oh, Gator just strutting around, having a good time. Before he gets down to business, he's been waiting 25 years. He's been waiting to close the book with that man. One of the most despicable men in MAW, PCW, Pinnacle Pro, anywhere in the Midwest. They've been waiting to see Aaron Corbin finally get his, and tonight he might just get it in this bunkhouse brawl. It might be blood, sweat, tears, but Gator has waited long enough. It's time to finish the book.
You know what they say? At one point, these men were good friends, and now they're going to be the best of enemies.
Uh-oh. Gator now going out to the crowd. He's ready
What's
to...
he doing?
Oh, he wants to continue the party. There is Gator's family, his boys, his wife, and a lot of family here of Gator Magraw to witness one more match of the final odds. And I can tell you, folks, don't expect a lot of headlocks, a lot of go behinds. You're about to see a fight. If you have not watched wrestling back in the 80s with Dusty Rhodes, you have no idea how bad this match is going to get with Gator Magraw and Aaron Corbin. I'm going to put it out right now. Parental guidance is going to be suggested. If I talked to Gator last night, he said one thing: I will not leave without any part of Aaron Corbin's blood.
Well, luckily for Mr. Magraw, until that bell rings, he still has time to forfeit this match. So I think
are you kidding
that
me?
may be in his best interest. Hey, I'm just saying.
Garrison Creed didn't want to give it up. Oh, here we go. We do want to make a mention here that Gator Magraw is coming in with a broken rib. Rich Maxwell, you are a practitioner in that ring for a long time. Tell me right now, how bad is that broken rib going to affect Gator Magraw?
Well, you can't breathe. With a broken rib, that affects everything. It affects how you move. It affects, like I said, how you breathe, how you think. And now the bell, he can still give it up.
All right,
haven't
guys.
ruled that out yet.
So the bell's rung.
I think Corbin might
You
let
can hear
him.
me again, right?
Corbin is a reasonable man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He may just offer a forfeit.
Yeah, so it was legit. I broke my ribs about a month prior to this match.
No.
And the doctor said, it was during training, the doctors were like, you're not doing this. I said, well, I'm doing it. It's just a matter of how hard we're going to go. And the guy that I'm wrestling here, he's a true pro. And he said, if you're hurt during the match, let me know. And so, but we're circling up here, and I hadn't quite gotten the cobwebs shaken out of me yet. And he told me, he said, I looked you in the eye and I didn't quite see Gator yet. I still saw Mike. And so what he's about to do, I didn't know was coming. And so I just followed up with it best I could.
Now, is he still active wrestling?
Yeah, and he's still wrestling. He's been wrestling nonstop since about 99.
Wow.
Yeah, and he popped me hard, man. It hurt.
Yeah, it's a wake up.
Yeah, and I knew why he did it. I knew exactly why he did it. And I was like, okay, here we go. Get right back into it. You see Wayne McCarty ringside there?
Yep, I do actually. Wayne's been a guest with us many times on the show. Everybody knows Wayne McCarty. He's working today, so he can't watch this live. He's going to watch it in replay, though.
Love you, Wayne.
Corbin stepping out, taking a breather. It's Good choice. Good choice.
Yeah, Wayne got a lot of good pictures. We had a. If you notice, those people in our match too, they're going around the ring taking pictures. They had a nice camera crew there too. But you got this great venue, Gator, for a final match. You know, in Minnesota. I would be lying if I say I didn't envy you for that.
Yeah, it's 10 minutes from my house, so it was a pretty slick drive too.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And footage, of course, courtesy of MAW, Midwest All-Star Wrestling, along with Gator. And guys, if you're in the state of Minnesota, the biggest wrestling indie promotion there, check them out. If you're interested at all, indie wrestling's got their own fan base, Jamie. You know that.
Yeah.
So it's like indie fans. There's wrestling fans and there's indie fans, and indie fans are just a cut of a different breed.
Yeah, so right here, he's taking me over by my family, and those are my kids right there. And he took a shot at my kids, so they started trying to punch him. And now I'm trying to get him to hold him back here. Here we go.
Awesome.
They have their own
Matt,
security force.
Matt, when did you say this was? 2011?
No, it was just last November, like November 1st.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Corbin was being nice. He was taking
So November. I was in January, so we're pretty close to the same
Yep.
time.
rewards him by chopping him.
We're both wrestling. Well, mine's a faux Irishman, and yours was legit. So
Yeah.
there you go.
And my middle name's Patrick, so I don't know about that.
Big right hand by Gator.
According to DNA testing, I have some Irish in my blood.
What an elbow. Here's that first cover of the match. Could it be? Nope.
Yeah, so far my ribs aren't bothering me at all, but he was having to remind me pretty regularly. He'd just say, breathe, breathe. He was trying to get it so I wasn't going to blow up, but because I was so nervous, but it's hard not to. And it wasn't the crowd size. It was the fact I was afraid to get hurt, and then it would just be like, it's like Conor McGregor, you know, he comes out for his big return match and he gets hurt right away. And I was so afraid of that happening. And,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, and right here, bang. And I leaned over to him and I said, I'm not okay. I'm not okay.
Yeah, that's
We landed right on the ribs.
Broken rib. Every time you hit that mat, that rib, the shock waves just go through your
yeah, because ribs take a while to heal. Like my ribs
Yeah.
with Ricky, what he did to me, it took at least 6 weeks before I was feeling better, and they weren't
Yeah,
broke.
I re-broke mine during this.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
is a man of mercy.
What size ring is this?
This is an 18.
Yeah, I'd say it looked a little bigger than what we had. Yeah, it's a tables, ladders, chairs match, right?
Yeah, we did that on purpose because, you know, frankly, I could do chain wrestling and stuff, but nobody wanted to see that between me and him.
No,
you know,
no,
like-
United States is a totally different crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love those trash cans. I don't think anybody other than wrestling purchases those those terrible little trash
Those all the
cans.
aluminum ones, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think I've seen one.
You know, that's why, though, because you can nail each other with it, and it doesn't hurt. We used pizza
Yeah.
pans back in the day, did the same thing.
Oh yeah, cookie sheets.
Cookie
all
sheets,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
We did that Group W cable for many months doing that because it had a great sound. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just constantly trying to keep the crowd into it. In a few minutes here, he's going to grab the lid of that that garbage can, and he hits me with the lip of it. And you can see a welt perfectly with a half circle form on my lower back right after he hit me. That hurt. Man.
yeah, if you get hit right, that's yeah.
Yeah. You're
Chairs
gonna
will do
see-
it to you too.
So Matt, is this all new gear that you're wearing?
It's Mike,
or is
Jamie.
it-
It's Mike.
I'm sorry, Mike. Is this all new gear that you're wearing? Like boots
All
and-
brand new, everything.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't have much left, and I wanted to do something special for this one, and so
Yeah.
I got all of it to wear for one match.
Yeah, that's great.
I did the same thing. You know, like you and I are, because it's our retirement match, right? Gotta
Yeah.
like, so I did the same thing, and now I don't know what I'm gonna do. Put it. I don't want to I want to put it on display or something. In my house, even. I don't want to leave it stuffed in a suitcase. What about you?
Yeah, my wife wouldn't go for that. It's in the closet.
So it's in a. So you don't have a man cave or anything.
You know, we do, but there's just, you know, my boys use it as like a game room. And we've got a little movie theater in there, so it just,
Shouldn't have brought it to the ring then.
I don't know. Just something weird about having to look at it again. It was hard enough for me to finally put it away and just kind of close that chapter, you know.
Right. How are you feeling right now? Like Jamie asked me, as we get close to halfway through, what do you think?
See, the difference between what he and I did and what you guys did, we didn't call a whole lot before the show. We had just a couple of, and that's the way we were trained to do it, is we just have like a couple of blips along the way that we work toward, and everything else is on the fly.
No, I'm totally used to that too.
Yeah, so there just wasn't a ton for us to have to remember, and he's a ring general, so he's calling everything for me. And like when he was choking me just a second ago, he's reminding me, work the crowd and breathe. And I'm like, okay. And so I would just, that was one of the compliments he gave me when we were done was, you listened. And sometimes that's the most important thing. But yeah, he, I'm blown up. I know that at this point. I am totally blown.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
And my ribs were killing me because, like I said, you can see me grabbing them. That's out of, like, that's real. I was hurting so bad. And the referee, he's even checking on me there. He said, "You okay?" I said, "Just tell him my ribs are just throbbing on me."
Yeah. I can relate with my shoulders too. I was hurting. And for you young guys out there watching all this, hearing us talk like this, wait till you get our age and you'll know what we're talking about.
I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't think it was ever gonna happen to me. I was one of those young guys that was like, "Oh, stop! Everything will be fine."
Yeah, right.
And then you get to like 40, and then you wake up one morning and you're like, "God, what the heck happened? You just slept wrong."
I know. And wait till you get in your 50s. It just keeps happening, just more of a degree.
Yeah, so we were working toward the garbage can spot. We didn't have anything else really planned after that. He told me just to, he said, do your thing. And so that's what we did. And the one thing is a baby face is whenever the heel is on their back, I always try to pin them, always.
Yeah.
Because from a psychology standpoint, they're already down. The work is done. So I may as well try to pin them.
Right.
Yep.
And this next thing I do here is not probably the smartest thing I've done, but it was a spot that he and I used to do together back in the day. And from my ribs, as I'm running, I'm like, oh, God, I shouldn't have done this. And I slowed down. And then I knew I had to hit the side ropes, right? And I'm just like, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. Oh. But, yeah, not the smartest thing I've done.
I mean, you can't tell that I can't tell that your ribs are bothering you in this. So
see, I didn't even lay on. I didn't lay on him for the pin.
I can see
I
that.
couldn't. Yeah.
Another thing with when I was pinning, I would sometimes not hook the leg on purpose just because they need to kick out. That's another little ring psychology thing. If you know it's not going to be the finish.
He clobbers me with this one. Bang, man.
Oof.
Yeah. I like him working snug, though. Like when the guys weren't working me snug, I'd get ornery about it because I want him to hit me. I want him to hit me hard.
It never bothers you in a match either, really.
No.
Your adrenaline's going too much for it to be a factor.
Yeah. And my outlook on wrestling was always like, wrestling fans know that most of it's nonsense. And so I wanted them to, like, they were like, that show was nonsense. But that one cowboy guy, holy cow, he was crazy. Like, that's what the outlook I always had on it.
Yeah. And
so I made sure that my stuff looked tight, and I made sure that other guys, if they weren't hitting me, they quickly learned they had to.
Yeah. And watching some of your earlier stuff when I was giving Gator some of his matches in 4K. Gator can work, Jamie. Like, he can work matches. He can work holds and stuff like we would do too. That's not all hardcore for him. But so like when you said that, that wasn't the match, I totally get it.
Right.
Because I seen how you worked back in the day with some of the stuff, even before you were trained, it didn't look bad.
Yeah.
That's why we hate that B word, because that's a whole different crowd.
So the crowd went bananas for that spot right there, and we were both telling the referee, count to three, we're done. And then he stopped counting, and we're like, crap, because it wasn't the finish, but the crowd was just so hot for it.
because you felt that was the moment?
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. And
so you did an audible?
And so Aaron said, just hit the finish. And so I went and grabbed the can, which was supposed to be, but they were just so hot for that table, we didn't think we could be able to get them back up again. And we didn't, and it just kind of like whiffs out right there, and away we go. But, it was fun.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see where you wanted to be at the table. But still. Excellent. I'm going to put the audio on, guys, so we can hear the rest of this, and then we'll come back. Just a little bit at the end here.
That's a surprise on. Good for him. Yes. It only took a pair of steel-toed cowboy boots.
It was a tiring effort for Gator Magraw. It was hard for him. That broken rib. What a match. Out of the days, Aaron Corbin has to look at a hand raise and a token of victory for the final hoss, Cowboy Gator Magraw.
25 years right there.
Standing proud. Oh, look at that. Corbin presented the hand and shook the hand of the final hoss. I'm floored, man. Gator now being joined in the ring by
my kids, ladies and gentlemen. I left wrestling 18 years ago. These guys have never seen their dad in the ring before today. I'm glad you got to share it with us. Thank you. You know, one thing I learned, one thing I've been really working on this year is rebuilding my confidence. Rebuilding it after job losses, rebuilding it after setbacks just like you. I'm proud of what we accomplished here tonight, and I want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of that. I really mean that.
Thank you, Gator.
I'm amazed by you, all of you. And I think you can agree that we all learned one thing here tonight, is that we all got just a little bit more fight left in us, don't you think? Hell yeah. This is it for me. I've done my time. It's time for me to take my bow, but before I do, please do me one solid, will you? Let's sing that song one more time. Together.
All right. There we go. All right. So that was pretty cool stuff. Jamie, what do you think?
I have a lot of, I have some questions for you guys that I've been writing while watching.
All right.
So, was this the last, this is the last match for both of you guys? Do you ever see yourself doing one more retirement match, either of you guys?
Go ahead, Gator.
Not me.
No.
You know, it's hard. I think if you look at everything that happened on that show, it'd be really hard to recreate magic in a bottle like that. And I feel like I got everything out of the wrestling business that I needed. It was a means to an end for me to finally close that chapter the right way. Because when I left wrestling initially, it wasn't on my own terms, and that never really sat well with me. But that night, I mean, I even went out of my way. The original retirement match that I had contacted that guy to make sure it was okay with him that I have one more, because I promised him I was never going to come back.
Oh.
And I got his blessing on it, and having my kids there, and there was just so much good that came of it. I think I got everything I needed.
You can't top that one.
No, I don't think so.
So that it kind of dovetails into a couple other questions I have. So why did you stop previously? You mentioned that it wasn't of your own volition or whatever.
Yeah,
I had and I had
torn my shoulder up really bad. I almost lost the use of it, and it was from wrestling. And I'd had one surgery a year before I quit, and I re-injured it. And on my way out, I realized that, like, and my wife was pregnant with our daughter, and I realized I was never gonna get to where I wanted to be in terms of the wrestling echelon, if you will. And I had to just walk away from it. I had to walk away from it so I could be home, because that was really, I wanted to be home. I wanted to be a dad, you know. Yeah. And the road is tough, and even at the independent level, it's tough. There were weeks where I'd wrestle, 4 nights a week, and so that's hard on anybody. And but the injury thing, it was just the universe told me, with all these things together, it was just time to go, and so that's what I did. And it was hard, but yeah.
My question, when you go 4 times a week, was that with Eddie Sharkey, or was that where?
No, I was wrestling all over the upper Midwest, and I mean, I was everywhere. I was getting flown places. I was all over the place. So it wouldn't be uncommon for me to do like 2 shots in Minnesota, 1 shot in Iowa, 1 shot in Wisconsin, something like that.
Yeah, but so because in the 90s you had a lot more independent promoters going on and stuff, because in the 80s there wasn't many.
Well, this is the early 2000s now.
Or like even the 2000s. There was even more then.
There was a lot, because the Attitude Era had happened and the independent scene exploded.
Because like I was thinking back in the day in Minnesota, it was just Eddie and Jim Mitchell. And there was Windy City operating in Chicago, but that was about it. But Jamie, get to your question though. If you remember, I pledged, more or less, that I would not pull a Ric Flair. And if I'm going to do a retirement match, I'm doing 1, and that's it. And part of my retirement match, though, is not just for me to retire. It was also to really kind of engrave our championship out there in indie wrestling more, because we introduced our belt again to Europe. And right now it's in England in a different promotion. It's making the rounds, and maybe it's going to come back to the United States one of these days. But the point is, that's why my finish was different than Gator's. I wasn't doing a retirement match for me. I was doing a retirement match for the belt and for Rick, and honestly, to put Ricky over because it made sense. Yeah. So, and to keep the belt out there, because if I would have retired with the belt, it would be back with me, and that's that. The whole idea is to let our belt be what it was designed to be in the beginning, an indie championship that travels, a real, true world title for the indie business. And that's what we're trying to do, I guess, as I should say. And go ahead, Jamie.
So I'm not sure if I should ask each of you in succession individually, or if we should share. But so my question was why, previous to your guys' retirement match, why did you stop? And then when you did you know your last match previously was your last match? You know what I mean? So, Crusher in, I guess, 90 or something like that was your last match. Why was it your last match? And did you know it was your last match at the time?
I didn't know. I don't know if Jamie, if we ever really talked about why I stopped wrestling, but it was it was a misunderstanding with Eddie Sharkey. I had relocated to Wisconsin and just graduated from college with an associate's degree in architectural design and got a job in Wausau, Wisconsin. I was about 3 hours away. And so when Eddie would book me, and Eddie, I was a small guy, right? Sean Waltman was a small guy. I mean, he had both of us at the time. And Eddie didn't like to have a bunch of small guys. This is still, you had to be a big guy to be in this. Yeah. And so if he's going to use us, he's going to use one or the other. Me and Waltman never worked the same venue. There'd be times where he'd be in the locker room, but he wasn't on the show because I was. And I had never seen him wrestle because I was always, if I wasn't booked, I'm not traveling 3 hours. And that, I think, is what Eddie didn't like. He wanted me there and doing it, and he knew I was going in a different direction with my college degree and everything. So he just felt it's best that I don't be a part of it anymore. So that's what it was. And I always thought Eddie was mad at me and stuff. It was nothing to do with that. It was just because he just didn't see, if you're going to be in this business, Eddie's, you got to be all in. And I was half out the door. And Eddie knew that. Eddie used me because I was good for what I could do. But he had Waltman, who was just as good as me, if not better.
Yeah.
So, what can you do? So that's what it was.
So
and
your
what was
last
the other
match, you
question?
didn't. Your last match, you didn't know it was your last match.
No, I'll tell you a funny story about that last match, though. My last match was a Russian chain match, chained to Steenerson. kind of a Mike Kinney match, I guess.
Yeah.
So, and I've never done a chain match. Troy wanted the juice for it. Here's the problem. Wally Carbo, El DeRusha, and Roger Kent all came into attendance at Ropers and George's in Fridley that night, and Eddie knew they were up there. And Eddie heard this, and he's like, Troy, you are not juicing. You're too young to do this. I don't want you doing this in front of these guys. Nope. And then Troy's like, Troy was, Steenerson. He goes, this pisses me off. It's like, fuck it. I'm going to do it anyway. I don't give a shit. I'm doing it anyway. I said, Troy, you'll never work for him again. Don't do what he says.
Yeah.
I said, I'll tell you what. I remember Bobby Heenan in WrestleMania got a Ken Patera, put the strap around his neck, and he took him and slingshot him and threw him back, and it looked like he took his head off, and the crowd went nuts. I don't know if you remember that. That was awesome. I put the chain around my neck. I'll do the same. Just whip that chain back, and I'll sell it. We'll give him something to get near broke my neck. Never tried this before, mind you. This is not a strap. This is a metal chain. Troy did that not once, but twice, and I thought I broke my neck. I'm holding on to it and everything to protect myself, but man, it was that's a metal chain. There's no give.
Yeah.
Crowd went nuts. Remember the announcer, as Mick Karsh was commenting, he's like, Crusher Cross is going to get killed in this thing if we don't do something here. Because I'm a small guy, and, Steiner was pretty big at that time. So anyways, I didn't know that was my last match at the time. I didn't know, because then Eddie, a few weeks later, Ed told me he thinks it's best I don't come back anymore because it's the travel, He never really told me at the time. I found out 10 years later when I talked to him, he kind of went over it with me more of why. And it was because of the distance. So I just thought he was mad at me. Just young and stupid.
So why did you not try to was there not an independent in Wisconsin or so,
No, the early 1990, there wasn't much. Now, there were some indie feds that came through Wisconsin at the time, but I didn't. Mike knows this. If you don't have connections and stuff, they're not going to talk to you.
Right.
You got to have an in. And they would come through the town. And I was always thinking, I'd love to guest ref or something, but they don't know me. So it's you're not going to just show up and say, hey, I used to do this. They don't care.
Yeah. So, Mike, you were saying that injuries were leading up to why you retired. Did you know that your last match was your last match?
I did, yeah. The show was dedicated to me. It was the main event. And,
oh wow!
It was a great night because it was all the wrestlers came out to the ring after it was all done, and
that was the main event. You said
it was the main event. I got hoisted up on their shoulders. I got
wow!
It was a whole thing.
So we didn't get to see all of it then. But
well, no. I'm talking.
We're talking about this.
Oh, your first retirement. Okay,
2007.
That's right. Because that was the question. Yes.
Yeah. So that's I did know that it was my last one. Yes.
And did you feel sad? Did you feel like this was being taken away from you? And kind of the same question for you, Sean. When Eddie said, "We're done," you're done with me or whatever. Basically,
more or
did
less.
You feel sad and feel like you didn't want to?
I was 20 years old, and as a 20-year-old, I'm like, "F you too," right? I'm
so you're more angry than...
At the time, I was only doing it for Troy to put him over anyway. Because Troy loved working with me because we were so good together. Yeah, you guys were really good. Right. So it's and I really just did it for him anyway. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need it. I don't need it because my mind was, I figured, I've got a career now. So it's and I was bitter to it. And I resent that. And I told Eddie 10 years later, I feel so bad for feeling that way because that was the wrong attitude. But you live and learn. You're young and stupid when you're young. But, for Mike then?
And what about you, Mike, with the feeling sad or feeling like you got, had to stop before you wanted to? Because, was it taken away from you? You know what I mean?
I've talked about this publicly a lot. And what happened for me is that, so I never had a plan B. All right. Wrestling was it. I didn't have any education or anything like that at that point. And, that last year when I knew that it was just a matter of time and I wasn't going to make it, when I was getting ready for this match that you just watched, I was going back through a lot of old photos, and I kept everything. And you could see clearly in that last year, I'd gone from wearing very bright colors to wearing just black. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I was drinking a lot, and the depression was setting in, and it got worse after I left wrestling because I quit wrestling cold turkey. I didn't watch it. I didn't talk to any of the guys that I wrestled with. And you got to understand is like at one point there was like a small fraternity of us that came out of southern Minnesota that we all lived together. And you just saw one of the guys, that guy I just wrestled, we lived together. And so we lived and breathed it every day. And it was just so hard for me to step away from it. Because as Sean was like the head of, the NWF, that was my role with that crew from southern Minnesota. And so now, the snake's head's getting cut off, and I felt a lot of guilt about that, and I was sad that I couldn't go on. And for a number of years after that, I struggled with addiction, and I always felt guilty about that. I didn't tell a lot of people about it up until the last couple of years because it should have been a happy time for me because I was a new father, and that's what I really wanted to do. But the reality is that my identity was so wrapped up in being Mike the wrestler that I didn't know what the rest of my life was going to look like, and I didn't care.
Right.
I was just, I was throwing it all away. Now I'm in my life now. I realize that wrestling, for me, at one point, I looked at it as like I've peaked, and it's all downhill from here. Now my outlook on it is completely different. Wrestling is just something that I did, and I don't know that I have peaked yet professionally in my life. So that's a completely different mindset than I've had, and I've sobered. I've been sober, it'll be 11 years here in a couple of months, and so just stepping away from. Yeah, thank you very much. And it was just so hard on me because I loved wrestling so much, and I lost my dad at a young age, and then he and I had that connection. He's the one that got me into wrestling, and so it was all just very, very hard. And so I was very self-destructive because of it.
And I gotta say, Mike, I can relate to the getting just cold turkey quitting, because I kind of did too, and I didn't talk to anybody either, and I lost touch with Jamie and a lot of these guys because of it.
Yeah.
And I just had to get away as well for different reasons, and I didn't want. I'm just like you, because I was such a diehard. Jamie, you know this.
Yeah.
I mean, it was my life, 24/7, and I had everybody too in my era telling me, "You're not big enough, man." Eddie Sharkey would turn a blind eye to it because he was a small guy. Mm-hmm. So he had, I think, a soft spot for it. But most everybody else, Jim Mitchell and these other guys, they weren't interested. You're not big enough. Wait till you gain another 50 pounds, if you can. So, and you keep hearing that. Now, Waltman goes and makes history with Razor Ramon. Everything changes. But I was on the early edge of that, so I didn't get that confidence boost that he gave everybody that's a small guy. Everybody owes it to Waltman for the small guys these days because he really set that off.
It's true.
So
I guess my last question, and this is obviously just for Mike, but you said this was the only time your kids saw you wrestle. What were their thoughts and impression? Were they, I know a lot of time with teenage kids, like it doesn't matter if you're the singer and Slayer, your dad embarrasses you or what, So was it like, oh, this is just some weird thing my dad's doing, or was it like, oh, this is really cool, or was there some kind of other reaction from the kids? What'd they think?
Yeah, I've got my twin boys, and I've got a daughter. And my daughter just went off to college last week, and my boys just started 9th grade. And you would think they would all be at the age where it's just like, Dad, put a shirt on. Just all of that, right? But we're all so very close. The 5 of us, my wife and my kids, and so my kids had always heard the stories, and they saw, how some of the wrestlers over time started to come around a little bit. They'd come and visit, and they'd hear stories. And they were like, "What are they talking?" So they were always so very curious about it, and. I had coached Pee Wee football the last 5 years. This is the first year I haven't done it in a while. And so a lot of the kids that I coached were there that night also. So not only were my kids incredibly excited to see Dad. See, so we've seen the photos and we've watched the YouTube videos, but now we get to see it.
Yeah.
For them to be able to, they were so excited about that. And even my mom was there. My mom had never seen me wrestle before. And I had, on the independent scene, I had right around 500 matches. She hadn't seen a one of them. Wow. And so that was a first for her. And so it was just, my kids were stoked. The kids from football, it helps my boys out too, because it's like the core group of guys from football, right? The ones that are all going to start and all that. And one of them has his dad in their basement. They have this whole sports area, and it's all the legends of sports, right? It's the Gretzky's and whoever. He's got all these people all over the walls for their motivation. And on that wall is a picture of Cowboy Gator Magraw.
It's awesome.
So how cool is that, man? Right? Like, so that's, cool. There's just all these things. So yeah, my kids are not embarrassed by their dad whatsoever, and I'm pretty proud of them for that.
That's awesome.
That is totally cool. And I want to speak for Ricky a minute here because he's not here. Just so you can get his perspective on all of this, because Ricky's he at the time of our match he was 18, about halfway through 18, almost 19, and been doing this since he was just turned 14. And I was super proud to be in there. Ricky was the most trained wrestler I've ever been in the ring with, because back in the day, not everybody was trained like him.
No.
So it was such a night off in there with him. I mean, other than a couple snug spots and that elbow drop, he was like super easy to work with. Yeah. And some of that stuff looked like he really connected, like that karate kick he did to my head or whatever. Then he did a nice standing kick, didn't touch me. But you watch it and you think, just clipped me, but he didn't. He was such a, so I had told Ricky, I'm so proud that I was in there with you, Ricky, and he knows how I feel. But I asked Ricky, I said, Ricky, were you proud to be in there with me? That's my question. And he said, yes, absolutely. He said, I'm one of the few people on this island that can say I got to work somebody from the golden era. To them, the golden era of wrestling is the 80s.
Yeah.
And he said he got to work somebody from the 80s that he doesn't think anybody on the island could make claim to that. So he was very proud of that.
That's awesome.
So that was pretty cool to hear that from him. Because he is, even when I was at his age, I don't know if I could hold a candle to Ricky. He's pretty darn good in that ring. And we just weren't trained the same. Mike, you know this.
Yeah.
Eddie, first of all, Eddie didn't train us on rolls, and they all are learn rolls these days for good reason. Longevity. You roll a snapmare. You don't bump it, and we were trained to bump it. So it's like, and Mike, all that hard-ass bumping Eddie do. So it's like in his training, so it's like that old school style training, that's why you were wrecked, after 500 matches. Yeah. It takes a toll on your body.
Well, I think that answers all the questions I wrote down for you guys.
Well, that was cool, Jamie. I'm glad you had some questions for us. I'm glad you got to see the match, too, with not only me, but Gator.
Yeah, finally. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you had it for a while, or you were going to watch, but I think you were waiting for the official commentating to get put on, and I'm still waiting for that, too.
Yeah.
But, Keaton did a really good job. He did some commentating for me on the match on our channel, but and he did a good job of it. But they're going to have their actual commentating crew put the layer of commentating on it still. They do a lot of that in post over there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
But, yeah, so I was going to say, I want to just give oh, by the way, I want to say this. You know what the day is today, Jamie?
No.
Well, you should.
It
is August
Armory?
23rd. And August 23rd was our big event at the Anoka Armory, Jamie.
Right.
Where your promotion was a part of it, CWF. I think it even says so.
Yeah.
This is I'm on the wrong side. The three leagues come together. This is the marquee poster.
Right.
Here's the one that most people see now when we hang around town. This was the original flyer. We called it Junior All-Pro Wrestling because I want to make sure everybody realized what they were going to see. When we did the October 18th card, when we sold it out with 450 fans, there was one person came up to Jason at the ring announcer and said, thought this was going to be like all-star wrestling. And Jason's like, well, it is. And then that fan wanted to talk to me. So I went out and talked to him. I said, because I thought it was going to be AWA. I said, no, it doesn't say AWA in the poster. But I said,
Yeah.
tell you what, if you're not happy, we'll be more than happy to give you a refund. You can, go on. He's like, no, I'm fine. He just wanted to bitch. But yeah, so I thought that kind of just set the thing up. I'm going to make sure we call ourselves junior because I don't want to.
Yeah.
We weren't adults quite yet.
Right. Yeah. We weren't stars yet.
No. But Mike, did you guys have anything with cable TV? Like, did you do anything on cable like we did?
Really funny thing about that is I had right before, it's kind of a really, really long story, but the crux of it is that right before we ended up closing our doors, and then a huge group of us defected and went and got formal training. I had just worked out a deal with, at the time there was public access in Mankato, and we were running out of Albert Lee in Austin, southern Minnesota, and it was a done deal. I'd gone there and they wanted our show, and so I was so excited to come back and tell the guys, and the guys were like, we're gonna just go on and go get trained, but you should come with us. And I was kind of mad about it at first, and it's like, man, we worked all so hard on this, but we never really did. We never had any TV, and this was like, we had a really cool website, but again, it was like pre YouTube, it was pre anything. So,
but at the beginning of the internet age,
it was.
So you're kind of in that transitional period where YouTube hasn't really taken off yet for that kind of thing, and cable was dying.
In 2006, I started running some shows at a bar, and I was well into working the independent scene at that time. And so we were going to run some shows at a bar in Mankato, and YouTube was so new that you could only put videos up to 10 minutes in length on there. So we had a YouTube television champion, and we had to tell these guys, boy, you better be around 9 minutes on these matches. And we'd fib to the crowd too. The crowd would think it's 10 minutes. We'd actually book it for 9, and the referee had a stopwatch, and it's like, let's go. So and then sometimes it'd go past, right? And then, time limit draw or whatever. So we used that YouTube limitation to our advantage in some ways for our little belt.
So Jamie, you've been here helping us and stuff, but you didn't get a chance to talk a lot about you.
That's fine.
So you were part of the NWF. Jamie came into the show. I'm going to talk about how he came on to the NWF. We were in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota at an armory.
Oh, boy.
And the place was kind of dead. It wasn't, when Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, the problem is there's no downtown. So where do you hang posters up? We tried hanging them up in the mall, but they took them right down. So it's like, we couldn't get the word out, and our cable show was really the only revenue. We think we had 50 people maybe in there. It was room for more, but we're used to doing hundreds, Mike. And the 50 people, it sounds like a good crowd, but it probably was for the indie business. But we wanted more. Anyways, Jamie was one of these guys that was in that crowd, and he got so into the matches. And his grandma was there, and Pretty Boy Taylor, one of our big heels, was making his grandma mad, and Jamie didn't like it. And finally, at the end of the match, with his match, Jamie got up in the ring, and he went up and he slugged Steve right in the back. And got out of the ring and just fired up, and it's all on camera. And it got back. The word got back to me in the back room. And somebody said, "Did you see that kid that jumped in the ring?" I said, "No." And they tell me about it. And then somebody told me what happened. I'm like, I'm gonna go talk to him. So I went out there and I found Jamie. Jamie thought he's only 12, 13.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Jamie thought he's in trouble, and I think I said, "So you're pretty fired up, huh?" He goes, "The guys, you think you can do this, huh?" And he goes, "Yeah, I could do it." And I said, "Want to sign up and do it?" I said, "We can always use wrestlers." And that's how Jamie got in.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that was that. I look, what am I going to do? And Jamie thought he was in trouble and everything. No.
Yeah, I thought
it's an opportunity to
come
get
with
somebody. That's the kind of
they're
attitude.
like, come with us, And I'm
Well,
like,
if you have that attitude, I know I could tell it right there that you were a character, and we can work with that.
Yeah. I've always had a strong thing where I'm concerned with fairness, and what was happening in the ring was not fair.
Yeah.
And it made me angry, and so I decided to do
kayfabe
something
days.
about it as a 12-year-old.
But no, it's still kayfabe was still going pretty good.
Oh, yeah,
so
no,
you don't know
totally.
if it was
So-
fake or real for sure.
Yeah.
And Jamie, though, I will say this, Mike, you know what a natural is, right?
I do.
Jamie is a natural. I mean, I'm going to say it. He's one of the few I can count on one hand. He had it from the get-go. For bumping, oh my gosh. He was so good at it in the beginning, and not everybody was. And Mike, you know this. Everybody's not good at that kind of stuff.
Right.
Not everybody can bump, but Jamie could. I mean, he could sell so well. And
I'm good at falling down on the ground.
I mean, you should have. You were very underrated. Let me just say that. And Jamie,
I appreciate that,
I know your favorite matches with me at the dry dock, but
yeah,
you had a lot of good matches. You know.
Yeah, my match with you was a lot of fun. So, and I mean, you were the best wrestler by far in the league. So, you know,
wow.
if the match were to fail or would have been bad, it would have been on me. So, you know,
we just weren't big enough, Jamie. All of us. So you were small too.
Yes.
I mean, Mike, you were a big
not anymore.
guy.
This gut is.
I mean,
guts.
Mike was viable. Like you were a big guy for the era, and you know, you definitely fit the bill. I'm curious though, Mike. You kind of, if you don't want to talk about it, fine. But is there anything you want to talk about with your time with Eddie Sharkey and the other promotions when you first started, or anything?
You know, it was hard breaking in to the independent scene because they knew where me and a bunch of those guys came from. They used to refer to us as the Albert Lee office because we had such a high. There were so many of us. There were 6 of us, and at one point we were wrestling in every promotion in the upper Midwest, and so we had a big influence on what was happening. And that kind of carried on for a while. But initially, you know, like the times that I worked with Eddie, it wasn't that I had an issue with Eddie, but there was one specific time that we were wrestling at First Avenue, and I
remember that venue.
The gate, the people that had the money from the gate came over to Eddie, and they handed it to him, and it was right in front of me, and it was this great big wad of cash.
Right.
And you know, if you've never been in the back rooms at First Avenue where we dressed, it's very dark back there, and there's not a lot of light. And Eddie thought he was in the shadows enough where nobody could see what was going on, but I was sitting right there. And so I'm watching him, and he's thumbing through the money, and he took about, I don't know, let's say 2/3 of it, and he shoved it down the front of his pants, and then he turned around to the other guy, to all of us, and he was like, "Oh, house is down, guys. Paydays are going to be real low." And I was just sitting there, and I'm watching him, and I'm like, "You got to be kidding me, bro. I just watched." And so the only reason that night specifically sticks in my head is because I wasn't living in the Twin Cities at that point. I was living in southern Minnesota. So that drive for me was a couple of hours. And
what did you get for it?
Eddie, probably like $20. But the problem of it is that he paid me, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, "You got to be kidding me." And so I go out to where I had parked, not realizing that it wasn't free parking, and there was a boot on my car.
Oh, and you got a
ticket. So I didn't have enough money on me to get the boot off, and so there was luckily.
Oh, that's how they did. They put a boot.
They put a boot on there, and if you didn't move it, if you didn't pay it, they stuck a sticker on your window, and you had to call that number. And luckily, there were some fans walking by that recognized me and you know, asked me what I needed, and they loaned me and trusted me enough to give me a couple $100 so that I could get my car and go home. And I paid them back. These are great people, and they were involved in my career all the way to the end. But I never forget that night because of that. I was out so much money, and knowing that how much I was supposed to get paid versus how much I did get paid, and then I had the issue with the parking.
Then you happened to see that, and you know the thing that people got to remember about Eddie Sharkey is he started out in the carnival business.
Yes, he did.
It's a total carnival act right there. No, seriously, like that's the carnies. Like they will take they'll skim it's almost like the mafia when they skim the cash off the top. It's sad. It's just sad that it happened, that he would still be having that mindset.
Yeah, he was very much like that. And so I, you know, after that, like I still worked for him, but I just fully, and that was probably one of the first couple of times I'd worked for him after he was involved in some of my training. And so I was bummed because I was so excited to wrestle for him. And then that happened. And it was just like, so if I ever had another booking, I always took other people's bookings over his. Yeah. But if I had nothing else, I'd take Eddie's. But I didn't work for him more than a bet.
A lot of
times.
Eddie, because Eddie trained Bob Backlund. I think Bob was probably the only one he really trained wrestling wise. Like he really was integral with it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he had big bodybuilder guys: Rick Rude, the Road Warriors, Jesse Ventura. That was, even though he was a small guy, he felt that sold more. And
Yeah.
because these guys made it, everybody thought they were going to be the next Jesse Ventura, the next Road Warriors. So everybody wanted to cling into him because they felt that he had like he had an in to get these guys out there, which he may have had a little bit of an in. I know he had conversations with the WWF. He ref for him locally.
Right.
And he would get me in the back room. I'd be able to get into the locker room back in those shows because Eddie was there. But I'll say this. His training, he did a lot of side chair coaching. Like, he just would sit in the chair and just bark orders, which is fine. I mean, he's watching, but Mike, I think it was worse for you. He was reading the paper or something.
Yeah, it was super common for him. And what I learned by watching that, so he'd be sitting in a lawn chair or something while we're in the ring. And again, I don't tell people Eddie necessarily trained me, but he was there and he was involved in it. And but he would read his newspaper, and then he would hear us bump, and he would say, "Oh, that bump sounded like crap. Do it again." So it was always like that. And so I would watch him do that, and I'm just like, okay, well, he's got to, because I was watching what was going on, and you could see that he was right. So I knew he knew his stuff, but it was just, that mentality of wrestling was phasing out at that time anyway with Eddie. Eddie was overstaying his welcome on the independent scene, in my opinion, by that time.
Yeah. And, sorry, I just had a work email thing come in. But, no, yeah, I get it. I totally understand. But I'll tell you this. Eddie had his faults, but, Jim Mitchell was 10 times worse.
Sure.
You talk about low pay. You know what Mitchell paid the guys when he first started? $5.
Jesus.
It doesn't get much lower than that.
That's
I
true.
mean, other than not paying them at all.
Right.
Paying them with food. There's guys that do that. But, yeah. Now,
I've got no hard feelings with Eddie. I don't want to make it sound like I don't like the guy.
no,
But
me neither.
it was just I was a young guy, and I was just learning lessons from people who'd been around a long time. I was just happy to be there.
Right.
I was just happy to be there, happy to be a part of it, happy to be learning. Sometimes you learn what not to do, right? So that's what it was all about.
And Jamie, I know you got a really good Eddie Sharkey story. I don't know if you want to tell it again. You've told it before, but it's certainly worth hearing again.
Sure.
It was
Yeah, when I
before
was-
Jamie joined with us, by the way. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Probably year before.
So they had advertised in September. They do is it the muscular dystrophy thing that Jerry Lewis used to do?
The
telethon?
MDA telethon. Yeah.
Yeah, the telethon. So, not really. I don't know how it was tied in, but Eddie Sharkey was doing a 24-hour wrestling match at this place called Pepper's Dance Land in Minneapolis. And basically, there's an ad in the paper, and it was it was going to be you could go and watch wrestling for 24 hours, right? I was 12, and I lived in Coon Rapids, which is, I don't know, a 20-minute drive north of Minneapolis. And so I called the bus company and figured out how to get to Minneapolis on a city bus and made it to Pepper's Dance Land. I had hardly any money. And I go in and, start watching the first few matches. And as the night's going on, the time between the matches is taking longer and longer because they only have so many wrestlers there. It's like,
Right.
how many fucking matches are they going to have? Well, anyways, and as the night's getting later and later, people start leaving. And eventually I'm the only person there in the audience. And here's the thing. I don't have any fucking way to get home, right? Because the buses aren't running anymore, which was fine because I was going to stay there all night, and then the next day I would take the city bus back home. And so they didn't really want to, the guys had already done 5 matches each, right? They didn't really want to come out and fucking wrestle for a 12-year-old kid. And so finally he comes up to me, he's like, "Who are you? Where are your parents?" And I'm like, "I took the bus here. Like, my parents, they don't give a shit about me, So he's like, "Well, we want to pack up the show." And I'm like, "Well, what am I supposed to do? I don't have anywhere to go, And so he's like, "Well, I can, you can come stay at my house and I can give you a ride home in the morning. I was like, okay. So yeah, so Eddie Shark took me to his house. I was 12, and I met his son, who was also my age, and we hung out and I think played with Star Wars toys a little bit, and yeah, then I spent
met
the night.
His wife,
and,
Princess.
Yeah, met his wife, Princess Little Cloud, and who was super cool. And in the morning, they like made a big breakfast spread and were super cool to me. And yeah, and then drove me home in the morning. And so yeah, my experience with Eddie is he was the coolest fucking guy ever.
But
I was so afraid that story was going to get really dark for a minute.
No.
You gotta remember the time period. You gotta remember the time period,
Yeah.
Mike. Yeah, in the 80s, before Michael Jackson, nobody thought that way. But no, Jamie, though, but the thing that was interesting to me was what Eddie, a lot of people don't realize Eddie Sharkey had a son. And what was his take on all of this?
He had zero interest in wrestling. Like, could
Not even
care
a little
less.
bit, right?
Nope, could not care
And
less.
that blew your mind, I know, at the time.
Yeah, I was like, what? You know, like, because I wanted to like ask him about his dad and ask him about all these wrestlers he met, because there's like pictures of like, you know, famous wrestlers in Eddie's house, and I'm like, do you know this guy? Like, you know, I had the impression like these guys would come over, or, you know, have dinner. You know what I mean? Like, and this kid's like, I don't know, they're my fucking dad's friends. Like, just, who fucking cares? You know, like, so yeah.
Yeah, so like obviously his son was not interested in wrestling. So
Nope,
which is really
zero
is
interest.
funny because Jesse Ventura's son was so interested in it, but as Jesse said, you're not getting involved. The same for you. Be a golfer.
Yeah. Be a golfer.
Yeah. It's funny. So he wouldn't let his son get close. But I remember at one WWF show, Jesse was there, and Eddie got me in the back, of course, because I knew him, and Jesse had his son with him. And his son, I don't know if I ever told this story, because we were blanketed on cable television at the time with the NWF, and Jesse lived in Brooklyn Park, and we were in that market. And his son recognized me, Jesse's son.
Oh, wow.
Jesse didn't, but his son did, which I thought was pretty cool. And then I'm thinking to myself, you know, I'm thinking maybe he would be interested. You know, get Jesse Ventura's son on the NWF. That could be cool. But Jesse was very protective with his, like he didn't let him out of his grasp. So, and I don't think Jesse would have been up for that at all. But I thought that was kind of cool. His son was there with them. But anyway, so there was something though that we were talking about that I was going to ask on all of this. I'm going to get off the Eddie Sharkey bandwagon here. But now that, okay, here's one, Mike. And Jamie, you'll know what I'm going to ask this. So I was asked when Brian Zane interviewed me for his Wrestling with Regret channel. One of his big questions was, when you finally went to work for Eddie, did you get any side glances from the boys because you weren't trained like they were, and how you kind of self-started and everything? Did you get any of that? And for me, I'm just going to answer this because no, I didn't. Not even a little bit. And here's why. When I met Eddie Sharkey in '86, we hit it off right away in the locker room. And from that point on, anytime he did a show, if I wasn't doing anything, I showed up and hung out. And I went to his training camp and trained in '86 with him. They all knew me. So for years, I had gotten to know his roster. So by the time I got in there in 1989, I was one of the guys as far as they were concerned. So I didn't get any, and even in '86, I didn't get any side glances because nobody, I told Brian, I said, Brian, you got this mindset of backyard wrestling. You got to forget that. It didn't exist. So nobody thought that way. Even Eddie Sharkey didn't think that way. There was nothing to compare it to. So we were just self-starters as far as Eddie was concerned. So no, we didn't get any side glances. Mike, I'm going to ask you the same question. Did you, coming from your environment?
Mine was a little bit different because what was happening was I was showing up to independent shows. I was getting shown how to do matches from like Dynamite Dan Jesser and the Kamikaze Kid, and I would help set up the ring, and they would bump me around a little bit. Then I'd take that stuff back to the guys, and I'd show them how to do all that, and we'd do that on our shows. And then I got, there's a guy who trained a lot of people in Minnesota named Terry Fox, who was starting to get involved with us a little bit, renting us his ring. He was refereeing, and he'd give us some tips along the way. And then in the late part of when we were doing all of this, right before we went to get trained, a couple of Ken Patera's students that were running their own shows and they were training people and really talented. They were getting involved in some of our shows, and we were referring to them as underground shows at the time because we knew exactly what our place was. And that was when we decided to close up shop. As they said, look, we've got a school. You guys should just come and train with us and be a part of it. So we didn't get them initially. What happened is once we started working the independent scene, it was, oh, you're one of those guys. And we had to learn in a little bit of a different way, and we had to fight a little bit differently. And there was one guy that I looked up to so much, and he and I are very kind to each other when we see each other, but I really looked up to him. It was Horace the Psychopath. And, he initially thought that I was just some backyard piece of crap, and once we started working with each other and he saw that how respectful that I was, and word got around pretty quickly that these guys aren't just some like fly-by-night yarders that nobody wants to work with. And Horace and I, we got very, very close. And so it was, once one of those guys, the old guard, kind of gave us the nod and the wink, then we were okay.
Yeah. And for me, having such a side-by-side relationship with Eddie Sharkey, because I was running the NWF when I met him. He was doing his thing, and he just wanted to promote with us.
Sure.
So we had a different, and the boys all knew that kind of relationship, and also the guys, his roster knew I was doing NWF.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a little more of a respect factor for what we were doing versus, and again, I gotta say, backyard wrestling just wasn't a concept. So
Sure.
Nobody thought that way.
Yeah.
Jamie, you relate to that because you lived it.
Yeah.
It's hard, though, for people to hear that these days because they're like, it's so engraved in their heads from what they've seen in the 90s.
Right.
It's just hard
Yeah,
for them
you're
to get their
absolutely
mind off it,
So Mike, how do you said you were from Albert Lee? Is that where you're from?
I grew up in Austin.
Okay. So how did you get your, and I don't want to open up too much of a can of worms. I don't know what your guys' schedule is like, but how did you get your start in wrestling?
Sure.
You said you went to a lot of independent shows?
I did. I got about 5 minutes left, and then I got to run. So I'll make it as fast as possible. I was going to shows very early, and I would sneak in ahead of time, and I would just try to help them set up the ring and meet the wrestlers. And I was 15 years old, and they would bump me around, and they'd let me set up the ring and do all these things. And that's what I was doing, is I was taking that knowledge back to the guys that I was already doing backyard wrestling with. And I wouldn't even we did do some stuff on trampolines and backyards and stuff, but we were renting armories. We were running shows that were drawing a couple hundred people. Oh, wow. And at one point we bought a ring. I mean, we had all of it put together, but you could see we were growing so quickly, and we were running almost once or twice a month. By the time 2001 came around, there was just we were so hungry to learn more that naturally when the opportunity for us to go and train further came up, we did that. And so the six of us from that group, we shut down what we were doing, and we relocated to the Twin Cities. And then even so much so that after I'd gotten into the business, I'm trying to think, 2 years after I was officially trained, I went down, I wanted to get some more learning. And so Harley Race had a thing going on at his school. For a whole week, you could go down there and live down there, and it was him and Ricky Steamboat were running advanced camps for people. And so I had gone down there to do that because he was booking guys in Japan, and I wanted to be a part of that. And so I went down for a week and worked with Harley Race and Ricky, and just did I was constantly trying to learn through that and get better and better and better. And I would say I got, given my limited athletic ability, I got probably as good as I could get at one point. And,
I gotta ask though, with that camp, was Ricky teaching everybody his style of the arm drag? Because he's known for it.
He was, and so there were two guys. So Ricky wouldn't get in the ring with everybody and do this, but there were two guys. It was Trevor Murdoch and Ace Steele, who trained CM Punk. They were there. They were two of Harley's main trainers, and they had said to Ricky, "Can you give us the arm drag?" And so Ricky did. Ricky shot them both off the rope and gave him the deep arm drag, and it was pretty cool. But
I got yelled at in Salt Lake City when I started doing it because they're not used to that. Matter of fact, when the guy, because they're used to doing, how they do it, they kind of you just drop down and it's a motion.
Yep.
Well, I go to do this, and the guy stopped because he didn't know who I was training with, didn't know what to do. And I looked over at one of the coaches, and they had a coach up from out east. They had 3 coaches. He's like, "You're not doing nothing wrong. They're just not used to seeing this. So this is good." So it made me feel better.
Yeah.
But anyway, I know you got to get going, Mike. Tell us a little bit about the other podcasts you do. Let everybody know that you have another podcast you do.
Yeah. It's called Wrestling with Tomorrow. And, we talked a little bit before about that gap from when I initially left the wrestling business and I didn't have a plan B. And the podcast really started out as an opportunity to talk about that gap and how do you figure out what the rest of your life is going to be like. And it's morphed into this really cool thing now where we talk a lot about rebuilding resilience or building resilience and confidence after setbacks. And that's what we focus on. And we have a new episode that comes out every 2 weeks. We were just involved in the WrestleCon convention. We were set up there and did a lot of fun stuff there. And it's been a really fun ride. And so Wrestling with Tomorrow is a really, you don't have to be a wrestling fan even to be involved in it. We talk a lot, wrestling's the arc for us to really talk about deeper mental health issues that can be overcome.
And is it live or is it taped?
We record and then edit and everything else.
Okay.
So we don't have any live broadcasts.
And is it up on YouTube?
It is on YouTube, yes.
And where do they find it if they're interested?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. You just type in Wrestling with Tomorrow or type in my name, Mike Kinney, and it will come up. I'm also on Spotify and iTunes and anywhere that you can find podcasts that's available to you. Yeah.
All right, man, Mike. It's been fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I really loved
I had a
watching the
blast.
matches. It was great.
This is a lot of fun.
A throwback to our and this is what I kind of summed this up as. This is 2 Minnesota indie legends in our own time, the 80s and the 90s with Mike, with Gator Magraw. So that was pretty cool. It was cool to see, and I'm glad that we got to finally do this. I wish Ricky would have been here, but I know he'll watch it. So,
well, thank you guys very much for having me. This is a great time.
All right, thanks for joining us. Then it was great.
It was nice meeting you.
That was great, Jamie.
Yeah,
what do you think?
That was a lot of fun. Well, I was glad I finally got to see your match. I kept looking on the NWF YouTube channel and not seeing it, so I wasn't sure if it was getting buried or what, or if it's not actually up there.
Because I always put stuff up every week. But you would. I'm glad you got to see it.
Yeah.
With me, because I'd rather you see it with me anyway.
Yeah. No, it was exciting to see that. It was even better than I expected. And
yeah, because you were kind of concerned about me doing this.
Yeah, I mean, I know how I feel, and I think you're a couple years older than me, so.
Well, like Mike said, he started eating healthy and everything, and I did the same.
Yeah.
I was eating healthy too, and I was definitely exercising, going to the gym all the time, and that really helped for sure. But I was still damn near gassed out at the end, and. Like Mike said in his match too, like imagine another 10 years though.
Oh my God.
But,
well, I mean, you made it for at least 20 minutes without blowing up, totally blown up. So that's pretty fucking impressive.
His match though was in front of nearly 1,500 people and a big show for indie wrestling in the state of Minnesota and the main event. Yeah. What more can you ask for?
Yeah, no, that's beautiful.
That was great that he got that spot. For his final match. I envy that because it's in Minnesota. Part of me would love to be in Minnesota for my final match.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. I'm just glad I got in there and did it again.
Yeah.
One more time.
I mean, flying to Ireland to do it's pretty fucking cool too. So.
Yeah. And the Ireland fans, which they're so good. And the food. Oh, there's so many things that were so good about being in Ireland.
Yeah.
It was, the food was really good. They don't have all the crap in their food like we do. And, and it's really good stuff. They have like baked beans for breakfast. You'd never think of that, but that was very popular over there.
I'm going to pass on that one.
And soda bread. They have soda bread and potato bread, and it's really flat like
I do like potato bread.
Yeah, so you've had potato bread.
Yeah.
Yeah, the food was really good. I can't remember what they call these things, these breakfasts, but there's a word for it.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, so I don't know. It was the only thing, you probably didn't see it in the match, but there was a spot in our match with me and Ricky where I was supposed to back body drop him out of the corner, and he came for it, and I just didn't do it because I forgot the spot. So then Ricky just grabbed me and started like forearming me, and then he brought me into the corner and he goes, Irish whip reverse back body drop. That's all he had to say.
Yeah.
And then we got right back on track. Ricky was smooth. He was smooth when it came to communication. I got some comments. Let's see if I can bring them in here. Try this. If I can make it work. Oh, it's not working. I don't think I have the right thing up. But anyways, it's Tony Begley. I'll just read it. He says, well. He goes, look who Smucker Crossan, the 5-time loser, an additional 6-time. He keeps referring to that. Wish I could bring it in. You guys can see the comments on YouTube, though. Why is this not working? This is supposed to work.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things in all of wrestling is when people talk about how many championships they won, and then I point out that they've lost it all those times as well. So
yeah. Oh, maybe it's because I got to bring this one in. I think I can bring it in here now. I was on the wrong thing. Well, now I can. Now I had the wrong window open. So now if Tony comments, I can bring it in. I had the wrong thing open all this time. Jesus. Anyway, but yeah, Tony Begley always giving me a hard time. I gotta get Tony on the show. He's supposed to come on with me and Ricky. I gotta figure out when we're gonna do that. I gotta get with Tony on that. Tony's also willing. I could have probably reached out to Tony to fill in for Ricky too, I suppose, because he said he would love to do it. But I thought I got to have my friend Jamie McParling come on for this one.
Yeah, no, I was
Tony would just make fun of me the whole damn thing.
Glad to asked. So
yeah, and then he's one to talk. You know what happened to Tony Begley? He's back to recuperating. You know why? He jumped on a donkey. And the donkey started bucking, and it bucked him right off.
Really?
Yeah, and he landed on his back and got hurt. So, Tony Begley, you shouldn't talk. Nah, I don't want to make fun of him because I don't want to make fun of him getting hurt, but it's kind of funny in a way.
Jumping on a donkey, huh?
Startled it, yeah.
Yeah, well. Wow.
So, Jamie, what have you been up to lately? Anything fun and exciting?
Not really. I work for a school district, and so
yeah.
Just been doing a bunch of upgrades over the summer, and now school starts a week from tomorrow. So we're in our crunch time getting classrooms set up and thousands of Chromebooks and hundreds of iPads and, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's been a busy summer.
Well,
Too exciting.
I'll tell you something. You're familiar with Elgato video capture. I think that's what you use.
Yeah.
And I have the same device. And that's what I use to capture the NWF catalog. I learned some things that I wished I wouldn't have learned because I've now learned that there's better ways to capture video for VHS, particularly a Canopus AVDC 110, which does DV caption, and I have one of those. And so I've always had one, and I didn't realize that the hardware in there is like really sought after. It's like what people use, because it does such a good job. And so now I'm like, because the trouble with our Elgato thing is it captures, but it's, even though I use OBS Studio with mine to get a better bitrate and everything, it's still being bottlenecked by the device itself.
Right.
And this Canopus device gives us a much better quality capture. So Jamie, you know me, I learned something like this, and it's like, I think I might have to recapture the whole catalog again now.
I am totally with you on that. I would totally do the same thing.
I can't live with myself, if I know there's a better way.
Totally.
And I can also learn that I should be in ProRes instead of H.264 because ProRes you can do multiple layer editing, which I didn't realize. I didn't realize that when I edited with MP4, it's degrading.
Yeah.
A little bit.
ProRes is uncompressed, right? So
it's uncompressed. So yeah, you can edit as much as you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, here's the thing. Unfortunately, you're in two different races, right? One is tape is slowly degrading, right?
Yeah.
And so you're trying to get it off the tape, but at the same time, capture technologies, going to get better and better, right?
Right.
You know, so it's like in the mid 2000s, I scanned all my analog, well, it's a weird term, but analog photographs, right? You know, actual pictures. I scanned them all. But I couldn't scan them at the highest resolution because I couldn't have, I didn't have all that storage space. Now, you know, I have terabytes of space, right? So I could scan them at a super high resolution with a scanner that has a way better optics than, you know, were available in 2005, right? So, you know, I'm in the same boat with photos. Should I rescan all these damn photos?
Well, tell me about it. Look at this. I meant to show this since it's August 23rd. I
Oh,
got
wow.
this big blow up of the drop kick from August 23rd.
That's
right?
awesome.
Now, this, it's okay, but it's not. I could make this so much better.
Yeah.
You know, I could get this photo properly done, so you can make it a little more clear.
Right.
Still looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So, anyways, I got this Canopus device. The problem is Mac, as you know, no longer supports FireWire on the Tahoe or later. So I can't go the Mac route unless I downgrade my OS, and I'm not doing that. But Windows still supports the legacy drivers, so I can get a card. I have to get a Texas Instruments i34 card. Go through Windows and use the legacy drivers, and I can capture that way. And it's the same file. It's just AVI. It's just not a movie file. It's the same quality, same everything. So I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because I want the best quality. And then once I get it captured, I will then go to Apple ProRes because I have to deinterlace it. So I'll deinterlace to Apple ProRes, and then I'll go from there. But
do you have an old Mac around that you can run?
Yeah, I wish I did.
Have
If I
it
did,
just be your capture.
I could be the capture device, right? Because it's not complicated capture. You know, any Mac would
Right.
do. I could probably pick up an old Mac just for that purpose.
I mean, they're pretty cheap on Craigslist, you know. So.
iMovie does the capturing. It's very easy to do on the Mac. But Windows can do it too, and I do have a very capable Windows. But here's the thing, Jamie. I bought a new. I told you AI's increasing the prices of everything. I got an RTX 5090 capture graphics card GPU.
Yeah.
Would you care to guess? Now that thing retailed when it came out a year and a half ago for $27.99.
Oh Jesus!
It's a top card you can get. Would you care to guess what that cost me just now to get?
I would not.
Double that price.
Wow! So it's $5,000.
But it's what I need to do 4K restorations, man. It makes it night and day.
Holy shit!
And when you see the 4K quality, I don't think you've seen it. It is quite something.
Yeah, $48.99 on Amazon. Holy shit!
Yeah, I got mine for $4,300 before they went for the $500 hike, so I'm lucky. But yeah, and that's just the card, and then I have to get a motherboard to support it, but with Topaz video restorations, it's really graphics dependent. It's not so much the CPU or the RAM that matters so much.
Right. Yeah.
But I know you're a real critic of it, but I'll tell you what though, Jamie, the latest, they call it Starlight Precise 2.6. It is it's a game changer. It's no more monster faces, no more weird looking deals. It just does clean restorations like it really does. It's got issues. The problem is it over details everything. So like all of a sudden you can get like just the faces, the skin tones especially can get really, really detailed, overly detailed sometimes. Yeah. But they're clear. They're crystal. It'll take a blurry face and make it right. It can be very magical, but at the same time it can be, so it's still not quite ready to capture yet until they get it more dialed in. Right. But I'm preparing for it. Let's just say that.
Yeah. All right.
I know you've been a big critic of it, though.
I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I just, it's like watching the prequel Star Wars movies now.
Well,
like
there are people that are taking that stuff.
It was like cutting edge CGI in 1997 or 99 or whatever the prequels came out, and we watch them now and we're like, holy shit, this looks terrible. Right?
Jamie is a big critic. Everybody, he really is.
But when you look at like the 1977 movies with, when they had practical effects or whatever, those special effects look great. You know what I mean? And so
I even gave Jamie some pictures.
and here's the thing. My
like,
entire life revolves around computers. Like that is my
Right.
profession,
But
I
something about
manage-
you like the originals. You like it the way they were intended.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to
just,
say.
it just there's a lot of computer stuff that just isn't there yet. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, yeah.
And, for me, I love seeing this stuff get better. So I'm going to keep going down that rabbit hole. But I hear you, though, too. I don't like seeing things not right. That's why in the beginning it was good, but it was a trade-off. I'm like, I don't like these monster faces either, and I don't like this
Right.
weird artifacting either. But I like the fact that the other 75% looks good. But
Yeah.
now it went from 75% to 95%. And it's like, whoa. Like Jamie, it looks like I showed my professor who's in video production, and he's like, that looks like it was shot in 4K. Like he couldn't. I'm going to 4K with it now, right? And he's like, looks like you shot that yesterday. He goes, I cannot believe what I'm seeing, because I did a before and after. And but then again, he doesn't know what these people look like, where Jamie does, and Jamie's gonna be like, gee, I don't know if I like the way that looks.
Yeah.
So, and I get it. I don't have it handy to bring in, otherwise I would. But I do want to go to this screen quick.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this next.
Just so I think I got what's coming up next on the show with me and Dave, the next rewind. Yes, I do. August 27th, next week, Dixie, Dave, and I will be going to the Garage Studios for studio taping 48. And that's one of those AI-generated pictures that Jamie hates.
It sure is.
And, yeah, you
Sorry,
can tell.
man.
You can tell.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jamie. That's
Sorry,
one thing
dude.
that Jamie and I don't see eye to eye.
I am, I can't not be honest about things, so sorry.
You have like Dave, you have no filter.
Yeah.
That's what Dave always says, I have no filter. He's talking about himself. But yeah, so anyways, that's what we're going to do. We're going to watch that show. Now, obviously, this is more restored than what when I do these thumbnails, I do dress them up for the thumbnail. So that's on purpose.
Yeah.
The video won't be that clear, but just saying. So, all right. So that's what's coming up next. Jamie, it was fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a fun time again. NWF Hall of Famer, class of 2024, Jamie McParland.
Yeah.
So it was fun. It was great to
Very
catch
proud
up
of that.
again. I always have
Yeah,
fun.
it was good seeing you, man.
Yeah. And guys, if it looks like I'm looking away from Jamie, it's because my screen's over here. So.
Yeah, that's one thing I struggle with is I'm looking at you on my computer screen, but I feel like I should be looking at the camera.
I see. Yeah,
but,
yours is over there. I guess I am looking the
so-
right way, actually, though. Now that I think of it. Oh well.
Oh yeah. So I need one of those cameras that's like on in the middle of my monitor,
Right.
so it looks like I'm actually looking at the camera. But
this was a fun show. I enjoyed it, and I'm gonna look forward to seeing Dave next week. We're brand new to OBS Studios. It's just disappointing I can't get the audio to work, but that's because of how we're doing this connection. That's a limitation of what's called Social Stream Ninja, which is what I use to bring guests in. It's a limitation of that. So, unfortunately, now here's how to do it, Jamie. You know computers. The way to do this, where you can hear it, is I have to have a separate computer and take the HDMI feed out and feed it in as a source into OBS, and then that would become a source that we could then see and hear, and that's the way to do it. I don't have a second computer. I have my Windows computer, but it's on the same monitor. So it would be hard to do it on the Windows computer, although I think I might be able to make it work.
so you got to buy that used Mac on Craigslist to be your importing machine
Exactly.
and your OBS.
Exactly. Send me
second
some links
thing,
on what
so.
you think would make a good setup. And it's FireWire 6-pin, I believe I need. Well, I know they have cables that convert it up.
Yeah, was it the FireWire 800 or 400? Do you know?
I think it's the 400. That's what I might know.
So the OG FireWire connector.
Yeah. So if it has a 4-pin, that would be. I thought it says it's a 6-pin to 6-pin cable is what I need. I believe.
Yeah, I know they make adapters that adapt down to I think Thunderbolt 3. So they're not super cheap, but
I have
the OS
those.
doesn't support the FireWire.
I do have. Where's my adapters? Somewhere. Oh, here they are. This is what I had to do when I used to go to the Mac before they stopped supporting it. So I have the Thunderbolt, the new Thunderbolt, to the old Thunderbolt, to the FireWire. So I have all that. This works.
Yep.
So yeah, if you find any computers you think would work good for a Mac, I'm all ears. But because I kind of don't like the fact that we can't hear the streams.
Yeah.
That's kind of a pain. So.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. So.
But it'd have to be a MacBook, preferably, because I need a screen on it separate.
Right. Yeah.
But it's pretty easy though. I just have to get one of these. Well, yeah, I have the FireWire. I think I can connect a Mac that way, right? From even just that cable, the FireWire to the Thunderbolt should come right into the Mac, I think.
Yeah, so the FireWire to Thunderbolt, you plug that in, and then if you're gonna, you would need a Thunderbolt to HDMI dongle to go video out to the OBS, right?
Yeah. So what I need to do is I probably need to get like an interface, like a Blackmagic, something that takes the FireWire in and spits out an HDMI. That'd be the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
Then just bring it in as an HDMI input.
Yeah, I was just looking at buying a ATEM Mini Pro Extreme today. So.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah.
I could use one.
Not
of
for
those.
me. For our school board meetings, we live stream the school
in the
board
school we
meetings,
had I think we had the white one, the all white with all the connections all around it. I forget what that one is. That one works too.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we've been talking long enough, so we're going to sign off, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining in, and it's been great, and we'll see you next time we're live.